Students of Reddit, what's your best school life hack?
Find time to get some exercise in. All that grab-and-go or fast food catches up with you fast. I gained a lot of weight in college and have since lost it all, but I wish I had made time to at least squeeze in a 30-minute workout every other day.
For math or physics majors, learn how to use LaTeX early. It'll save you a ton of time in the long run, and you'll need it for grad school anyway. I personally recommend LaTeX for problem sets, since it helps to see what you're writing live. Also, getting really good with Mathematica saved me countless times when I wasn't able to do the math by hand.
It's pretty great.
Great for finding full tests for some reason.
I remember not being ready for an exam once. About an hour and a half before I had to take it, I searched one of the questions online and found a Quizlet set with the 60 or so questions from my study guide. I read through it a few times, took the test. It was nearly identical. Finished in about 20 minutes and scored around a 96. Go Quizlet.
If you have teachers who reuse materials, try Googling a direct quote from a worksheet or assignment. You can sometimes find the teaching resources and answers online.
At my school, the teachers have their own website and can make different folders for resources. The teachers have the option of putting a link on their site so students can access it. So teacher can see all links and students can only see ones the teachers put on the public site. I looked up one of the assignments for my AP Environmental class and found a link to my teacher's answer folder for all homework. I really lucked out there because I had no clue what I was doing in that class.
You don't know real fear as an undergrad until you look at your future and realize you might actually have to take a summer class just to graduate. Anthropology 101, my last humanities credit in senior year. I went to lectures but never took notes and missed the labs because of a confusing alternating schedule. Tuesday one week, Thursday the next. My grade was tanking, but I had already finished all the classes for my major and just needed to meet the university's requirements. So there I am in the library around 11:30 the night before the final. They close at midnight. The exam is first thing in the morning. If I get a DI on this test, I graduate. Most of the exam is based on the notes I never took and the labs I missed. I'm the picture of desperation, so I start searching online like crazy. I end up doing exactly what someone had recommended. I type in an exact phrase from one of the study materials, just as a last-ditch effort to save myself, and what do you know? My professor's name, the class, and somebody else's detailed notes and lab notes pop up. I think I got a C.
If you need to take part in a group discussion but aren't confident about the material, ask thoughtful questions instead of trying to answer something you don't understand. It'll buy you time and still count as participation. Visit your professor or TA during office hours if you need extra help understanding something. Hardly anyone shows up, and they're usually more than happy to help.
To add to this, pay attention to how often other people are participating. If it's a high participation class, you'll probably want to contribute 3 or 4 times, even if you're not totally sure what's going on. Go for the easy gimme answers and ask a couple of good questions, and you're set. If participation is low, your teacher or TA will be thrilled anytime someone speaks up. Just ask one question during class and you'll be fine. I had plenty of discussion-based college classes where some students almost never spoke, maybe once or twice during the entire semester, and only when they were called on directly.
Browse the textbook before the lecture, or at least skim the introduction and section headings. It's much easier to remember information when you walk into class with a bit of context.
Yeah, I've always done that too, but I've had the most trouble with professors who assign readings and then go completely off in their own direction during lectures.
If you struggle with studying or have a hard time getting yourself to do homework, try finding a study buddy. I have a really hard time focusing on my own, but if a friend is in the room concentrating, I feel motivated to stay on task too. It helps me focus and keep up. If you can't summon the motivation on your own, a little friendly accountability works just as well. Edit. For anyone saying they don't have friends, that's not the point. The goal is to have a study partner. It could be a classmate, a sibling, or even someone online who you pay a few dollars an hour to check in and hold you accountable during study time. I actually use that last method to power through half a novel.
I wouldn't have made it through post-grad without doing this. My study buddy actually found me. She'd known me for about 15 minutes before saying, "I know you're smart, but you clearly have trouble focusing. I'll make you learn it if you teach it to me." My grades went from C's to A's, and we both ended up with great jobs.
Get enough sleep, seriously. I know it's tough and it can feel like there aren't enough hours in the day, but if you have to cut something, don't let it be sleep.
As someone who just graduated college, do yourself a favor and actually go to class. You're paying for that seat. especially if you're in the US, and research shows that more absences usually mean a higher chance of failing the course. I know you might hate the class, but go anyway. Seriously, I might be begging here.
Don't leave things until the last minute. Try to get them done ahead of time so you can avoid unnecessary stress. It really helps you stay on top of things. Also, learn how to manage your time well. It makes a huge difference.
You've got to play the metagame. If you're a bit lazy or unorganized like me, you won't always have time to study properly for everything or finish every assignment. That's when you check the grade breakdown and focus on the items that are worth the most first.
This is so important. Keep track of your points. The only way to know if you can skip a homework assignment or mess up a quiz without it hurting your grade is by keeping a close eye on your progress throughout the class.
This also applies to working adults taking classes, especially if you're studying full-time while working full-time. If you have 4 classes on your plate and an 8-hour workday, sometimes you might need to skip an assignment. The question is, what's worth the least compared to the time it takes? Maybe you've got a math quiz that only takes 10 minutes online. Do that. But if there's an English assignment worth 5 points that takes 2 hours, or worse, an unknown amount of time, but probably a while, maybe skip that one. I'm not saying you should skip assignments. You're in college for a reason, but sometimes you have to do a little damage control.
If you're nervous about giving a presentation or speaking out loud because you have to, remember that most of the students around you feel the same way. Or even worse. Keeping that in mind always helped me get over the fear of talking in front of others.
Laminate your notes so the tears just roll right off. Not my original joke. On a serious note, once I left my charger at the library and it wasn't in the lost and found. So I came back a few hours later when a different person was working. I asked if they'd found a white Apple charger, one I'd seen earlier, and they just handed it to me. Lost a charger and ended up with a new one for free. Edit. Another tip. Try not to buy your books from the campus bookstore. They charge more, and when you sell them back, you'll usually only get around 30% of the original value. Then they'll resell that same book for full price the next semester. I've managed to find all my textbooks as PDF files online.
Don't pull an all-nighter. It's much easier to get up early and keep working the next day. Edit. What I mean is, don't wait until the night before to start your project or assignment. If you still have 2 or 3 days before it's due, cut yourself off around 10 or 11 p.m. If you've waited until the last night, well, you've put yourself in a tough spot. Do what you can.
This is an unethical and specific one, but it worked wonders. One of the vending machines at school accepted Yu-Gi-Oh cards as dollar bills. Edit. Thanks for the gold, stranger. I turned off my phone for a short nap and came back to this. Edit 2. For those wondering, I found out from a friend.
My classmate took up a strict 9 to 5 school schedule right from the first semester. Every day, he'd work from 9 to 5. He was either in class, working on homework, or studying if he got everything done. At 5 p.m., he'd pack up his stuff and be done for the day. He had all his homework done way ahead of schedule and never had to pull all-nighters or waste weekends on assignments. He was never stressed out or anything like that because he spent time studying when he wasn't slammed with homework. I could never manage it because I'd rather procrastinate and start 3 hours before it was due, but it seemed like the best way to do it. Edit. To answer the flood of questions. This was in computer programming. We did get projects estimated at around 60 hours a week later in the course, but by then he was so far ahead of everyone else that he could start working on them as soon as they were assigned and knew the content so well that he still didn't have to work outside his core hours, while I was pulling multiple all-nighters in the lab trying to catch up. Yes, you might need more time depending on your program. The point is to get into a routine and use your time effectively. He didn't have a job because school is affordable where I live, and we were in a co-op program where you work every other semester and can save up some money. But he did take contract work to do in the evenings or weekends for some extra cash, and would have had every night and weekend free if he wanted to.